syntaxes, and we also discussed the concept of field symbols, right? Let me open our program. Eclipse tool. Wait a second. Let me check the program which we have created. Evening. Packages. Okay, I forgot completely. All right, no problem. Let me create a new program. Web program. Source code Z new ABAP syntax. New ABAP syntaxes. Next. Yeah. So what I have done, I created one structure. Let me just write it first. Material number, material number, material type, via research, material group, history factor, medical group, and unit of major. To declare the internal table, or sorry, we just wrote a direct query now. All right. Field symbols we were discussing. So select, where is my code already? I'll just copy and paste it here. Yeah. So field symbol is nothing but a placeholder, and which is going to help us so that we can access everything without actually taking any spaces, without actually wasting any extra spaces in the memory, right? This is what we saw. Other than the field symbol, you have a new concept here, object oriented concept. So using object oriented concept, looping using object oriented concept. So what we can do here, we can turn each and every row into a object property. Yes, this is also allowed. Yeah, property. And all the columns will then become a attribute which we can access by using arrow keyword, as we do in case of object oriented programming. So the same thing, if I try to implement, just do the copy, and if I show you here, so instead of assigning field symbol, now I can just turn it into a reference. So reference into my object, let's say local object, and then everything can become here a object now, a object property which we can access. So I just do the copy here. This is not needed. So we can just access each and every stuff. Arrow and arrow. Here again arrow. And here full stop. See here, everything we can access as a property now, right? This has become a object. We can turn each and every row, which each and every iteration, it will become a object, and we will be simply accessing it as a property, as a attribute. Now if I do the activation, I will get the same result, right? So this is also an alternative which you can try if you want to convert them into a object. That is also you can try. Yeah. Then literals. So we can pass the literals directly, passing literals to the SQL query or SQL commands. So there is a new feature inside our new ABAP syntaxes. We can directly add the literals in the SQL. So for example, here, let's see this. I'll comment this out. Literals. Literals in SQL. In SQL. So let's say I'm finding out select material number from my Mara table and storing it into table at the rate data LT material, and then I'm just displaying it. CL demo output display. So LT material up to 20 rows. I do the activation and I'm checking it here. So run as ABAP application. So I am getting this material numbers, right? Now another benefit here we have with this new ABAP syntaxes, we can do the code push down. We can simply send our code intensive logic. I can combine any text here also using literals. So here I can, let's say, add my, I'm adding a my keyword here, my, and percent, adding a space, and I'm combining with this material number. So this my will be combined with the material number code push down. This something we are sending directly outside. It will be combined. It will become a single row. It will become a single column, and it will be stored inside this LT material internal table. So if you check this, now just re-execute and check each and every row. This my has been combined. Where this combination is happening, everything is happening directly in the database layer. Is this a permanent change? No, it is not any permanent change. We are manually changing it based on our requirement or our choice. So here this concatenation that we see is directly happening inside the HANA instead of a ABAP application layer. This is a code push down technique. Right? That is another thing here which you can try. You can add the literals directly in the SQL query. It is okay. Yeah. SQL functions. So we can also implement round and seal function using SQL functions in the SQL query. So let's find it out first. I'll just give it. So we have one table there. SAP has given one table called sales order. So if I check this table, if I open the GUI first and check it here, S11, I will open it. There is a table SNWDSO, sales order table for EPM data model. This is the sales order header table. Inside it, if we see here, we have the buyer GUID. We have a gross amount where some amount value is getting stored, right? So let's try to use this particular thing. I will write a query on this and let me just show you. Comment this out. Next one, SQL functions in the new sentence. So say I'm writing here a query, select my buyer GUID. Buyer GUID, I'm selecting gross amount. I'm selecting here gross amount from my sales order header table. So SNWDSO, and I'm storing it into table @data itab, and suppose I'm looping it. So loop at itab into work area, and I'm displaying it. So work area, buyer GUID, and work area gross amount. I will do the activation of this. It's a normal query, right? Let's check the output first, then we will implement the other things. So there is my output. This is my buyer GUID ID. There is my amount value, the gross amount that is there into this sales order header table: 25,000, 14,000, 500,000, 631, 1704.04, 761.24, right? So this is the amount value which is stored here. Now you can give here alias name also if you want. Let's say my gross, only gross total or gross amount values. Let's say I'm writing gross amount values. We can give the alias name. As soon as you will pass the alias name, now there is no column called gross amount. It will turn into a alias here, right? So amount values, activate it and check it again. Run as ABAP application. There we have the same thing, right? But now it has become a amount value instead of gross amount. We can implement the functions here over these columns. So if I want, I can implement the functions. Sorry, remove this alias, I don't need it. Yeah. So I want round. First, I'm implementing round function over this gross amount, and I want to round it with 0, nearest 0, as gross amount round, as gross amount round. So this will become a new column into this. This will become a new column. See, a new code push down. A new column it is getting added here. First one is my gross amount. Gross amount. Second one, you see the same gross amount but with a round, with nearest 0, it has become gross amount round. A new column. Work area gross amount round. A new column has been added. Now if I check this, now if you check this one and go for run as ABAP application and check it, it has been rounded to the nearest 0. 25,867.03, it has become 25,867. 14,602.49, it has become the same. But something which is greater than, here you see it, this one is greater than 50. So 250.73 is had turned into 251, right? So it is getting rounded to the nearest 0. We can implement the ceil function also here. Other than the round, we can implement the ceiling function. Ceil gross amount as ceil gross. A new column I'm adding. So this also now we can access work area, seal, gross amount, right? So if I try this, if I do the activation, and if I go and check it again here, so run as ABAP application, there you see now, if it is greater than 0, the seal value of it will obviously +1, so 25,868 it has become. If any single in the decimal also, if there is a greater than value, automatically one will be added. You see 14,602, it has become 14,603, right? So that is my SQL functions which we can directly implement here based on the use cases. All everything here, code push down. All this logic is getting sent to HANA, and there it is getting added before we are getting the result, right? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
SQL functions, right? Okay, case expression, very interesting. Case expression inside SQL query. So we can add case expression inside the SQL query. If a statement is not allowed, but case we can try. Yeah. So case expression. Case expression in the SQL query. All right. So suppose I have one table called which one I should use? Okay, business partner table. Say I am finding out. Select company name, business partner role, and from my sales order business partner table, right? And say I'm storing it into table at the rate data LT, or better itab, same. And I can just bring this work area here, loop at itab into work area and loop, and just using it. So write statement, work area, BP role, first company name and then BP role. Yeah. So if I check what are these values, I will remove these output screens, execute it, run as ABAP application. There you see. So these are some of the companies which is available in this my SNWD business partner table. And for each one, there is some business partner role. You see 0101 for all these companies. And if we scroll down, there is also some values called 02. So some business partner role is there. But there is my different requirement. My requirement is I want to display some other values for these things. I want to implement here a case expression. That also we can try. That also we can give here. You say instead of this business partner, I want to display some other values. So what I can do now, I can directly give here a case for this business partner role, and whatever value is going to be there, let's say if the value is 01 that we saw, then instead of this, I want to display that it is a customer. If the value is 02, I will say that I want to display here supplier. If the value is something else, let's say 03, then I want constructor or contractor, let's say contractor, or else I will say I don't know any values. I don't I don't know. And this one I will I will make a new column here and as business partner role, same column, and as business partner role. So this BP role that we see here, these three things, it will be stored here into this business partner role, right? And here now we can activate. And now if I check, so run as a ABAP application, see these values. Something where it was displaying 01 and 02, now it will turn into the value that we are sending here. So we can add directly the case expressions. We can directly add these case expressions here in the new ABAP syntaxes. There is a new thing here, you see, case expression, right? Is it okay or any confusion here? Case expressions inside the SQL queries,
Yes.
right? Some complex cases are also there, some complex case situation. Let's say I'm giving one more sample here. What should I say? Okay, let me just take a new table. So suppose I am fetching data, select sales order ID, gross amount, and this is from my SNWD SO table, and I'm storing it so into table iTab, data iTab, and I'm displaying it. So loop at iTab, and loop, and here I'm displaying write statement, sales order ID, and gross amount. I activated it, and if I check the output, something we will get, right? Our sales order ID is available in this SNWD SO table and the amount values, right? Now what I want to implement here case expression. So what I'm saying, I am giving here a case. So when I want, let's say if the gross amount is greater than 10,000 or 100,000 better, 2350, yes, then it should display high amount, or it is when the gross amount is greater than 25,000 and gross amount less than, let's say, 100,000, 235, yeah, then it should display medium amount, and when, or otherwise we can give here else low amount, yeah, and I will make it a new column and as amount type. This also we can try with this case expression. So now this guy will become a new column here, work area, amount type, and if I do the activation of it, and if I click on run as ABAP application, see 20, greater than 25,000 medium amount, else low amount. If it is greater than 100,000, it has become high amount. You see here high amount, 100,000, high amount greater than 100,000, right? Yeah, it is okay. Is it okay? Everyone, is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right? So this also you can try with this case expression. See, earlier, if we wanted to do this kind of situation, what was our general approach? We will go for, we will bring the data in the internal table. From the table, we will loop over them, and then we are going to do all this part, right? But now a single select query, and you will you will be getting the desired kind of output that you want inside the internal table in the same format that you are looking for without writing any extra code. That is the beauty of this. You can implement aggregate function directly here. So using aggregate functions in the SQL queries, that also you can try. So we know aggregate functions are aggregate functions are mathematical operations which are used to perform some specific task over a column, over a column, right? Next thing is these aggregate functions. So in SAP or in ABAP, it is mandatory to use the group by clause while writing while writing these aggregate functions. It is mandatory to use the group by clause. Whatever column you are using, it becomes mandatory to use the group by clause. Same thing will be applied here. So let me show you a table. Say I have one table, my uh, aggregate table. Let me check. Yeah, there is one custom table which I have created, and it contains the employee ID, project ID, and amount values. And now if you check this table here, so for each employee ID, you see here total 5 project ID are there, different project IDs for each employee ID. 2 employee ID we have 101 and 102. We have 5 different project IDs, right? Amount value is also there. For 101, we have 10,000, 20, 30, and 40, and 50,000. For 102, we have the amount values as 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500, right? Now, suppose I want to implement the aggregate function here. Say, I want to implement the aggregate function here. So, what I am saying, I want to implement aggregate functions here. So, I wrote a simple select query, employee ID, and the amount. I'm writing here employee ID and the amount. There is my table from into table I tab. Yeah, I'm writing there. And then I will loop over it. So loop at I tab into data work area and loop. And then write statement work area as employee ID and work area as amount. I will activate it and I'm going to execute it. So run as a web application. There is my employee ID and amount values, right? Now, one by one, let's see the aggregate. Very first one. What are these aggregate functions? Can anyone tell me how many aggregate functions are there? How many aggregate functions are there, guys? Can you hear me? What happened? Am I audible? How many aggregate functions are there? Anyone, please?
Approx 8 to 10.
Can you please come again? I did not get that.
5 aggregate functions are
Yeah, 5. There are total 5 aggregate functions. Sum, max, min, count, and average. This you can try here. Let's start with the first one. Sum. Sum of amount. I'm implementing here as sum amount. There you see automatically it will give you an error. Automatically here it is giving an error. What it is saying, check it. The field employee ID from the select list is missing in the group by clause. It is mandatory. So from group by my employee ID, whatever columns you are going to use, it is mandatory to use them as a group by clause. The field amount should also be used, okay? Or better, I will remove this amount. I don't want any group by clause on this. Directly on amount, I am going to write it. Yeah. So this will become a new here. So sum by employee ID. Total each employee ID was used 5 times, right? So now if you check the output, work area, sum amount, and check this one. Just go and check it, run as ABAP application. There you see, what was the output earlier? 1015 times, 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50,000, 100, 200, up to 500. Sum them, 50 plus 40, 90, 120, 140, and 150, 150,000. Is it or not? Yes, 150,000. This will become 1500. That is my sum. If I want, I will implement here average. So average on my amount column, add average amount. So a new column here, work area, average amount. I will activate it. And I'm going to check it. So run as ABAP application. There you see 3 into 10 to power 4, 30,000. So this will become the average. Here 3 into 10 to power 2, 300. 1500 by 5, 300. 150,000 by 5, 30,000. Right? There is my average. I can check the maximum and minimum. So average, my then maximum. So maximum amount as max amount, minimum by amount as minimum amount value. And we can also count the distinct amount values as count amount. That also we can try all these aggregate function, maximum, minimum, and here we can have here count amount. Now if I activate it, and I'll go for run as ABAP application. Wait a second, I have not printed it, right? So work area maximum, work area maximum amount, work area mean amount, and work area count amount. Activation. And now we will check the output here. So there you see, this is my average 30,000. For 101 employee ID, what is the maximum amount value? 50,000. What is the maximum amount for 102 employee ID? 500. Minimum is 10,000. Minimum is 100 for this one. And total five values are there, which we are able to count it, right? Which we are able to count it. So we can directly implement a aggregate function. See how code push down is working here. We can implement easily, correct? There is my aggregate function.
Sir, and also we have count bigness.
What?
Count big. It also comes under count.
Yes, you can try. There are separate versions. Getting my point,
Okay.
right? Yeah, great. String concatenation, there is a new thing. So string concatenation, string concatenation. So earlier, how does a string concatenation was going on? String concatenation. Let's check that one. Concatenation. So what I have to say, let's say earlier what we used to do if we had to do the combination, so data keyword, and let's say I have one LV string, type string. Yeah. So if I want to concatenate something here, say concatenate, earlier this was used. Say I'm writing here, I love India. So I love, and I want to add it. So we used to go for this way. And then India into my LV string. This was the way, right? This is what we used to do. And if I go for write statement, LV string, activate it and check this. So run as ABAP application. There you see, I love India is getting printed, right? But suppose I want a single quote here also. I want this India should be printed in the single quote. I want this one should also be there. So in that case, how we used to do? We used to go for here multiple double quotes, and then this string concatenation was happening. Yeah, into LV string, and then I can give here separated by space also. Space, right? Then this guy will be treated as a single value. If I want to combine these multiple things, then this 4 single quotes was mandatory, right? Let's check it. Run as ABAP application. Yeah. Oh, wait a second. Here also I need to give. So after India, I need to give this 4. Okay. I'll activate it. And let me check. Yeah, now it is getting added. But now there is no need of all these things. We can directly go for this new way. I can just go LV string. My pipe operator I can use. And in between pipe operator, you can write whatever you want. The same thing I have written, I love India. Doesn't matter how many single quotes we use, this pipe operator. I will comment it out and check this. This is a new way of new string concatenation. Any multiple string, you write it here. If you want to combine a variable, or if you want to store here a variable, say I want to store here a data keyword, LV value, type string, and value I'm writing here India, and I want to, sorry, India. I want to add this value at this place. So I can also do this, no problem. For that, we are required to go for this here, curly braces. You can just implement the curly braces and you will be able to use it. LV underscore value. LV underscore value. If you want for the single quotes, you can go for the single quotes here. Any variable, we can mix it in between the curly braces. Check it now. So run as this ABAP application. Same thing, right? So this is my new way of string concatenation. This old way, no need to use it anymore. Use the pipe operator. Using pipe operator. That also you can try. Use pipe operator. Operator. Okay. All right. Value expression is there. Is this one clear? This is string one. Everyone, is it okay? Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It is okay, sir.
Right. Okay, great. Then value corresponding expression. Yeah. So earlier, if I had to store a data in the internal table, suppose a requirement was like store 3 records, manual records, and not bringing any data from the table, but store 3 default records into an internal table. So what was our general approach? Internal table. So earlier, what we used to do first, again, we need to create a structure first. Say I am using employee of my employee ID, data element, something is there, employee ID, and a name is there. So employee name. So 2 columns we have, employee name and of ty underscore employee. Then we used to create an internal table for it, right? So I'll go for data keyword, my LT employee, type table of ty employee. And then we used to create a work area, right? So ls employee type ty underscore employee. And if I have to store some values, we used to add first. So ls employee id is equal to any employee ID that you want, some employee name equal to let's say Mahesh. Then we used to go for append ls employee to LT employee, and we used to clear the work area. Everyone, is it the same approach? for storing the default values or not, right? General way of storing the values. If we have to store these multiple values here, 103, there's some value for Swati or Divya, right? So this is how we used to store the value. Old approach. This was our old way. Old way. So this is old way. But new way is saying, instead of going for this part, what we can do, we can directly create a table type. So new way, I will go here. Directly create a table type. So you can use the types keyword. Let's say LT table and type table of this structure TY employee that we have used with a default key, so that there should not be any non-matching values. So here I am creating one table type. Now you can just declare any of the internal table you want based on this table type. Let's say LT imp emp, and using the value expression based on this table type LT table, you can start storing your values, any number of records within a single rows. Employee ID, the same 101, employee name, there you can pass Mahesh, and the same thing we can add any number of record here. Any number of record we can add it here. So like this way we can go for within a single line. Yeah. That is how we can do. It's a new way here. So if I try this CL demo output display LTEMP, if I activate it, 5 rows should be displayed. So within a single line now, instead of append statement, no need for append statement, we can use the value. We can use value expression. We can go for this value expression. And we go for this value expression. There is another way. So let me first use it. Value expression. So using value expression, we can transfer multiple records into a table or into an internal table within a single statement. That's what you can do now. That's what you can do now. Using this value. There is another one, corresponding corresponding expression is used to transfer the records from one internal table to another. It is used to transfer the records from one internal table to another one. Same thing you can try here also. See, you if you want, you can just check it. I'm creating, suppose, another internal table, data keyword LTEMP2, and here I'm using corresponding keyword, corresponding based on this table type LT data, whatever the value is there in this internal table, it will be transferred. This LTEMP value, whatever value is there in this internal table, it will be transferred automatically into this LTEMP2. So now if I check this guy, activate it, run as ABAP application. There you have. So if you are declaring this at the runtime, if you are declaring this LTEMP at the runtime, then it becomes mandatory to use the table type. Otherwise, we have two more things here. First one is corresponding has. Corresponding has. So if our internal table is already declared, then we can transfer data from one to another using this. So what we can do here, suppose I am declared it. So I'm declaring a third one, data LTEMP3 type table of PYEMP, and I'm just using the values. So LTEMP3 equal to corresponding has my LTEMP. See, then we can go for this corresponding has directly if it is already declared. So whatever the corresponding columns are there in this internal table, automatically the value from this internal table will be transferred into those columns into this internal table. So if we go and check it here, LT employee 3, I'll comment this out. Run as ABAP application. You see it's still the same. So two words, corresponding and corresponding has. Corresponding and corresponding has. There similarly we have the value expression, value has expression also. We have the value has expression. So if your internal table is already declared, say I have declared my internal table data LTEMP2 type table of TY employee, then again no need to use this table type. We can directly go for value has expression. Then no need for this table type. Instead of it, we can directly go for value has, and here LTEMP2. If it is already declared, then no need for table type. We can directly go for has expression. This value will be stored and you can check it. CL demo output. display LTEMP2. So run as web application. There it is still the same. Right. So value versus value has expression. Will also be implemented if value has. So if the internal table is already declared, then no need to use the table type. Instead, we can try with the value has for storing the data. So that is also we can try here. Value has. Wait a second. Hmm. Wait. Let me copy and paste it here. Okay. So in that case, we can try with this value has expression. Yeah. We already know if we have the object creation. So there is the new way, which I have already shown you in object-oriented programming. So that is the thing. Using new keyword inspired from C++ and Java. C++ and Java and Java for declaring objects. So we can use here data keyword, local object, new class name. Earlier it was like this way. So we used to declare old so data lo underscore obj type ref2 class name, and then we used to go for create object. So create now it has become this way. So new keyword we can just go for it. Declaration of object. Declaration. Declaration of objects. One more is there. What I'm missing? Yeah, table operation. So table operation instead of a read table. Read table. So earlier we used to go for read table into work area and kind of thing. Now this we can directly try. Let me just show you. I will enable this. 7. And I will enable this one. So here, what we see, we have the work area. Sorry, we have 5 records in the internal table. So if I have to go for any read table, this is how we used to do read a table lt emp2 into data work area with key employee ID equal to 101. And then we used to go for size of RC check. And if, and then write statement. So write statement work area employee ID. This was our old way. New way we can go for it. So new way, we can just declare our work area here. Data, let's say ls employee work area is equal to, it is equal to our table type. We can directly implement here or internal table. There is my internal table ltemp2, and inside it we can implement the brackets, and in between you can check if there is any employee ID 101. There is my internal table with 5 records. Now this new way, this is called table operation. If there will be any value, any employee ID with 101, the row will be transferred into this work area and you can use it then. So this table is a alternative for read table statement. Read table. Yeah. So is it clear for everyone or any confusion?
Sir, could you please explain difference between move corresponding and move corresponding hash?
Move corresponding and corresponding hash is a two different things. See, earlier you used to write, how you used to write. Let me just show you. What should we do? We have this internal table. Okay. So suppose, just comment them. Say I am declaring one work area here, data ls employee 1, like line of this ltemp2, and then ls emp2, like line of, I'm declaring another one, so ltemp2. So suppose I have one, so I'm doing a read table ltemp2 into work area ls emp2 index 1. I read my first row. Okay. I'm writing move corresponding ls emp2 to ls. It was 2. Let's make it 3. So ls emp3. Tell me what will happen here.
The one
Hmm?
record which is in LSEMP2 will move to LSEMP3.
This is something which we are writing from last 20 years, correct? Old way.
Yes, sir.
Now, instead of this, you can just go lsemp3 is equal to corresponding hash lsemp. Oh, sorry. LSEMP. That is the new way. It's the same. The work will be same, but underlying implementation will be different. The same case will be applied for the internal table or work area, both of them. The corresponding, is this the what it is saying, the old way? The corresponding columns from this one will be transferred to this one. The values of the corresponding columns, right? Same thing it is also saying. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
See,